Hey folks, Colton Woods here with your Monday morning motivation brought to you by Colton Woods Horsemanship. And guys, this week I am here to challenge you, to encourage you, and to remind you that you can't screw this up. All right? Because horsemanship to us is not just a way to train a horse, but it's everything we do with our horses and in our own lives. I've experienced this exact situation in numerous lessons in clinics and all across the board, whether it's in business or in our everyday lives. We get so caught up on screwing it up. Guys, we can't screw it up. And the reason we can't screw up is pretty simple. But first, I want to dive into why and how that process even comes about. All right. So I'm going to use an example. I'm going to use an example of, say that we're on a diet and your goals could be to add mass. Your goals could be to get ready for a certain competition. Your goals could be to lose weight. Okay. But usually when we get into the fitness realm, we end up choosing and specifying a diet that we're on. Okay. So when we get into this diet, we've usually excluded certain types of foods that we are not supposed to consume. And then there comes a time where we slip up. We make the mistake. We overindulge in something that we told ourselves, no, that's not going to be part of my diet. And it's not the problem that we indulge in that certain type of food or drink or whatever it was that was the actual problem, but it was the psychological mindset that comes after the fact. If we just consume the food and we say, hey, I've slipped up, I indulged in that, I shouldn't have done that, and we leave it behind us and we move on, you can't screw it up. But a lot of times what actually ends up happening is that we end up dwelling on the fact that we overindulged or that we indulged at all in something that we told ourselves was outside the limits that we set within ourselves. And when we do that, when we dwell on that mistake, then we so often, we end up taking that mistake and we start using as an excuse, as the fuel to the fire, to keep making the same mistake again. We use it as the fuel. We use the same mistake that we knew we made as the very excuse for why we should be able to justify to keep making that same mistake. That's a very dangerous path because if you're on a fitness journey, that's a very, very quick road to sabotage yourself in not getting to the results that you were set out to get to the first place. In the world of horsemanship, that's the same result that we're going to experience. A lot of times we learn better ways. And I always say that when you learn better, you do better. And that requires discipline. But it also requires forgiveness that you can forgive yourselves in those moments, because we all are going to make mistakes. We're all going to have those moments where we don't do exactly how we set off to do. But that's why it's so important that we recognize, hey, I made that mistake. I overindulged here, or I reverted back to an old habit of how I used to work with my horses. And I know that's not the best approach to get to the goals that I have with my horses, whether it's that connection, that relationship, or maybe a discipline specific goal, a competition goal. That's okay. That's the journey of building self-awareness and then being able to forgive yourself and move on. But where we get caught up when we tell ourselves that I screwed this up is when the only way that we can screw this up is to use that very mistake as the justification, as the excuse to keep making it over and over. But guys, this week I'm here to remind you, to encourage you and challenge you based on the principle that it's okay to make mistakes. You can go out and make mistakes. We need to go out and make mistakes because that is the way forward. That is the way to progress. But then it is very important that we take the time, we build the self-awareness, we reflect on that. We say, why did this happen? How did this end up coming about? What factors led into it? We learn from it and we move on. But we don't sit there and dwell on it, and we certainly do not turn it into the fuel in the fire to continue making the same mistake over and over again. Because at that point, that is a very dangerous road, and that is the quickest way to sabotage our own selves. But after all, this journey is a journey of self-discovery, this journey, even with our horsemanship, is to me, is to live a happier, healthier life, to become a better human being. And so with that, guys, this week, I hope that you find this encouraging and helpful as you get your week started off here. Every week, we love to connect with you all through our Colton Woods Horsemanship's Monday Morning Motivation. So this week, guys, go out there. Remember, you cannot screw this up. Pass this along to somebody if you think this will help them along their journey. That's all we simply ask from you. We give this to you free every single week. And all we ask is that we spread positivity. And because, guys, here at Colton Woods Horsemanship, we like to keep it fun. We keep it real. We keep it informative. We keep it positive. So y'all go out there and have a very blessed week. Put your best foot forward. Make sure you forgive yourself when you make those mistakes. Always learn from them, but don't ever dwell on them. Y'all have a blessed week.